Here, mention their video review. And today I'll be taking a look at the 1 to 1/44 scale Real Grade RX-78-2 Gundam from the original Mobile Suit Gundam. Start things off, here's his size to a soda can. Pretty much what you expect from a 1 to 1/44 scale kit. Just get that out of there. Colors for this guy are technically the standard Gundam colors, but really he started it. Mostly white, a slightly darker shade of white since this is a real grade kit, dark gray, a slightly lighter dark gray, blue, a baby blue, red, pink, and thankfully only one shade of yellow. Though a hyper gazillion stickers. As you can see, they are all over the kit. And of course there are some in there in the eyes. Come on. Focus, please. Focus! Ah, screw it. You're just going to be a pain in the neck. Poseability is pretty good, but this is a real grade kit, so that's to be expected. Head is on a ball joint, so back and forth, tilt side to side, go all the way around. There is a hinge joint in the body, so his head can move back and forth a bit. There's a joint in the body that allows the arms to move back and forth and up and down. Arms can go all the way around. Shoulder arm moves freely. Arms can go out to the side that far if you use the body joint. Swivel all the way around just below the shoulder. Can bend at 2 joints in the elbow with some nice armor movement. Always appreciated. Hands are on ball joints, side to side, in and out, swivel. And there's a wrist joint. Allows just a little bit of extra movement in the wrist. The hand can swivel in and out. And then there, for the hands, the thumb and index finger are on their own ball joints. And then these 3 fingers are on a ball joint, with all of them having hinges at the first knuckle. So quite a good bit of posability for something so small. These big thrusters are on ball joints, so they can move all over the place. These little flaps here, which are very hard to get to, can move, and then there are little thrusters down there that can move too. The posability in the torso is a bit different. I'll explain later, but can move back and forth, side to side, as well as swivel. But you see it has an ab crunch there and a side to side crunch. That is because of the current core unit. It actually has 2 core units, but I'll get to that later. Of course, the cockpit can open. There is no sliding panel because it's too small, but you can open that and see that in there. That's the core block, as it's called. Front skirts on a ball joint, in and out, back and forth, side to side. The side skirts can move up and down, in and out, and swivel a little bit. Back skirts can do the same. Legs can go forward that far, back that far, out to the side, really only that far before these things pop off. I guess the leg side to pop off too. They can swivel just below the hip. They can bend at 2 joints in the knees. Bend at 2 joints in the knees for a total bend of that much. And of course, this is a real grade kit, so bits are popping off all the time. Just like that. Give me a moment. Yeah, that's my really only major complaint with the real grade line so far, is that they're very, very fragile, which is why I'll probably be sticking with the high grade or master grade. But moving on. There is a panel right here, if I can get the out of the way, that can open just a bit. I assure you can open. I don't know why it's not opening right now, but whatever. Feet can move back and forth, as well as side to side at the ankle. Swivel side to side, and then tilt a little bit at the foot itself. Ankle armor can move up and down. The heel can actually move a bit. Front part of the foot can move up and down. And the toe can move up and down. So, very poseable, but also very fragile. And now we get on to accessories. This is going to be the fun part. Now, the first accessory I want to get onto, to get this guy out of the way for just a little bit, is the Core Fighter. As you can see, is just a tiny little jet. I mean, it is very tiny. I mean, soda can dwarfs this thing. In fact, it's so tiny that even though the little itty-bitty cockpit can open, I assure you it can open. I've done it before. And I think it just broke. Oh, no, I just loosened it. There isn't a little thing of Amuro in there because it is just too small for it to fit. As you can see, it has just a little landing gear down there. Pretty neat little thing. You can take the landing gear off, and these are extremely tiny to make it look like it's flying. Now, of course, this being the Core Fighter, it can go into the core of the suit. To get ready for that, collapse the nose cone, fold up the wings, fold the cockpit down, and bring this tail fin down, and as you do, push up, and now it's ready to go inside the body. Now, what you have to do now is get the core block out of there. So you just have to rip the kit in half. That is a very tight connection. Now the hardest part is getting this thing out. I'm going to see if I can do it on camera. Ah, hey, I did it! Without too many bits flying off. But as you can see, the core block has these two ball joints that make the kit a little more poseable. You can see there are just two little posts in there, and then several slots up in there. Oh no, tabs that will allow all this to connect. So the first thing you do is there are ports, the thrusters, go into the posts. Plug that on. You want to keep the cockpit hatch folded out, and then just drop this down on top. And it should lock into place. There he is with the Core Fighter in. And there you go. This does limit the posability a little bit, but honestly, I like it this way without the core block. It just works better in my mind. I know, I'm weird sometimes. I like a little more accuracy as opposed to posability. So, call me a weirdo if you want. I mean, it's my only defining trait. Anyway, so moving on from that, we have... What do we want to do next? Yeah, let's do these. He actually has 4 beam sabers. As you can see, he has 4 beam saber handles. Very tiny little things. However, he can only hold the 2 that have tabs. The 2 with slots go somewhere else. I'll show that off in a bit. All the ones with slots can still hold the beams. And he has these very, very big beams. They have itty bitty posts up there that just go into the ports in here. Even though he can't actually hold these can still be attached, so it's kind of neat. So the ones he can equip, it just attaches the same way. And now for him to actually hold them, you have to get his hand open. And there is a slot in his hand for this tab. Let's see if I can do this while looking through the viewfinder. There we go. Just wrap his fingers around it. And there he is holding the beam saber. Of course, they can be stored. Just get you out of here. There are these posts in his backpack. Just plug them on, that. And that. And there you go. He also comes with 2 extra closed fist hands. And getting those on is relatively simple. Just take the existing fist, pop it out of the ball socket. Where is it? Take the new one and pop the ball joint into the ball socket. Well, there isn't really much of a reason for this guy to have balled fists, but it's an option. For the remainder of the review, though, I need to put this back on there. Just get that down. It looks kind of mangy. What do I want to go next? Let's go with this. The famous Gundam beam rifle, mostly dark gray, a little bit of yellow, some lighter gray, actually no more of an off-white. There is some posability on it. The scope can go side to side, and the foregrip can go side to side. Getting him to equip this is a little finicky. That's because there's this little tab that just folds out from here. That in and of itself is rather difficult. Something I like how in the later kits they just had a tab that was just permanently molded there. And then you have to work the hand around the grip into the trigger guard. At the same time, get this tab into the slot in the hand without everything just sort of going nuts on you. Which is easier said than done. I am going to try and do this on camera, but I do have to look over the camera to do it. Oh, hey. It actually wasn't too painful that time. I love it when they make me liars. Well, in this case, I actually do. There he is equipping the rifle. Pretty much what you would expect. Let go. Let go. Yeah, sometimes the tab comes out and stays with the kit. It can be stored in his backpack. There's a little slot there. Tab there. You can just put that guy in there. Maybe I'm thinking of the version 3 Master Grade. I don't know, these RX-78-2s, there are so many of them that are starting to bleed together a little bit. Next on the list, we have... Whoa, don't knock the tripod over. The shield. Mostly red, a little bit of lighter red, white, yellow, and dark gray. What the... Okay. There is a little bit of posability. Handle can move in and out. This little attachment bit can swivel. Well, it's extremely tight. And this can slide up and down. Now, getting him to equip it, there is a tab here and a slot on the forearm. Just sort of get the handlebar onto his hand and then put that tab into that slot. Come on. There you go. Not too painful there. Now, the fun part about this is the extra beam sabers, which I think are made specifically for this, as well as the beam rifle, can all be stored here. What you need to do is the beam sabers go onto these tabs. These slots go on those tabs. Just like that. Oop, nope. Other way around. I always get that mixed up. They actually go on that way. And this one goes there. Nice and easy. And of course there's the tab on the rifle. Goes into either one of these slots, but I prefer to use this one. There you go. Now this can be stored in his back. Just going to make sure that everything is lined up just right. There's a tab there. That will go into the big slot on his backpack. And there you go. Of course, you can slide the handle thing up and down to get the backpack or the shield to sit higher or lower, but I prefer to have it sit as low as I can. And finally, we have the rocket launcher. The only real poseability here is this. Whee! As you can see, mostly white, some dark gray. There's actually, if I can get my light, a little bit of detail in there. You can actually see the individual rockets molded. That's pretty neat. Fairly tall, too. Now, getting him to equip it is normally pretty difficult. Come on. First thing I gotta do is get that tab out, which, as I mentioned, is a bit of pain. The other pain is getting it into his hand. It's usually best if you bend the arm to at least a 90-degree angle and then angle the hand out. And then just try and get the two to meet in the middle, which can be easier said than done. Come on. Come on, work with me. Darn you. I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. Like I said, it's rather difficult to get it into his hand, but once it is there, it's not coming out. So that's good at least. Looks fairly good on him too. So let's just pry that out. Come on. Let go. And just fold this tab back down. Make sure it doesn't come off in the process. As for storing it, there is a panel that can be folded down on the, well, I guess the butt. And the panel that folds up. There's a space in there. And there's a tab right there that'll just sit right in there. And then sandwich these two down, which sometimes requires a little help. But once you get it, it usually stays pretty well. And there he is with all of his numerous weapons stored and ready to go, if I can get him to stand. Does make him a bit back heavy, but still it's a pretty cool look. I like this kit, but it has the same problem as all the other real grades. It falls apart pretty well, pretty easily. That's my cat, she just wants attention. Is that everything? I think that's everything. Okay. This has been my review of the 1 to 1/44 scale. Hey, come on, look at the camera. My review of the 1 to 1/44 scale Real Grade RX-78-2 Gundam. So until next time, bye-bye.